Good evening. Welcome to the Legit Podcast Network. This is the Legit Paranormal News. It is August 16th, 2023. Unfortunately, I don't do the Math Geek thing. You'd think after all these months of listening to Mike do that stuff that I would know how to do it. So, apologies to the Math Geeks. I am Dreamy David Barr.
I'm Machine Mandy.
Cyn Shrader Hill Author.
And again, welcome to the Legit Paranormal News. All right. Who's ready for our top story?
Let's do it.
All right. We got Alien Mania, week 2, still running wild across the world.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a few bits that have been coming up on my feed. So let's jump into this. We have a former Pentagon Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, employee who believes that aliens are giving her information about the cube within a sphere. Let me see if I can bring this up on my screen so that everyone can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can present. One moment, please, as I bring it up. Technical difficulties.
Oh.
So, hang on. All right, can you see the crop circle and the cube in the sphere?
I can't.
All right. Scratch that. Technical difficulties. I apologize.
Oh.
It's okay.
It's all right. So, as we know, during the recent congressional UFO hearings featuring Air Force veteran David Grush and 2 other men who were also questioned, including Navy fighter pilot Ryan Graves. During this questioning and in previous public statements, Graves reported seeing an unidentified craft shaped like a dark gray or black cube inside of a clear sphere. I was trying to bring up an artist's rendering of the sphere. So if you think, like, if you're a Star Trek fan, the Borg cube, and then it's inside like a little spherical force shield. It's the best way to describe it. So that description that he gave has become one of the most widely shared designs of these supposed alien ships. So using this information, Twitter user, is it Twitter or is it X? Do we call it X now? Or people?
They changed it?
Yeah, it's got an X for the symbol.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm behind times.
I'm still going to call it Twitter because that's what everyone refers to it as.
Me too.
Twitter user Cortex_0 shared an artist's rendition of the cube within a sphere. And he compared it to a crop circle that we've shown previously on the show that is a cube within a sphere with some symbols and stuff. And he called it a fascinating correlation. So in response to this observation, this Pentagon Defense Intelligence Agency employee, Angelina Schultz, shared her insights on the design. She said, just wait until they find out it isn't actually a cube. Now, she tweeted that on her Twitter. She believes that she is in communication with a higher extraterrestrial power that she refers to as the Council. Sounds like the Galactic Federation from like Star Trek, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So apparently this council has shared information with her about this design before. And she says, you'll just have to tune into her podcast to hear it. Someone commented on that post saying she's a clickbait princess. I did go on her Twitter, and the podcast episode isn't ready just yet. She goes on to say on her Twitter that the council has shown me this anomaly multiple times. I've explained this to several ufology and DoD people in private conversations and in-depth interviews as far back as 2021, detailing what the beings say that actually is, and it blew my mind. She says it ain't a cube, folks. And Angelina, we're waiting for that podcast episode because I want to know what it is. inquiring minds want to know.
Absolutely.
Sounds like something interesting.
Yeah. Are you too familiar with the cube within the sphere?
I'm not.
No?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. It was kind of like a big deal a little while back. But on to the next tidbit of Alienmania.
Sarah Yusuf just wrote The Borg.
Kind of like the Borg, exactly. Oh, let's see. Oh, we got a hi, Mandy.
A seeker. He's one of our top fans.
Hello, all. Thank you, Sarah, for including all of us.
All of us. Nice.
And yes, this cube, it's kind of a cube like the Borg, and then it's got like a spherical force field around it that's clear and allows you to see the cube through it.
That's interesting.
So on to our next piece of Alienmania.
Let's go.
King Charles is called on to release the truth on UFOs and to prepare the religious for the impact of ET life. So people are putting pressure on King Charles to call on the UK government to release more information about the UFOs and the possibility of extraterrestrial life in order to help prepare the country's first contact with aliens. It's like a big thing. A lot of people are starting to get ramped up for first contact here. The king, like his late father, Prince Philip, he has an interest in UFOs, according to Mark Christopher Lee, who has a new documentary called God versus Aliens. He examines the impact of the discovery of extraterrestrial beings and what that would have on religion. I think that's pretty fascinating. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that documentary. Again, it's called God versus Aliens. Now, Lee argued that Charles, as the head of Church of England, I didn't know the king was also the head of the church for some reason.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Well, I knew it, but I forgot it. So Lee says that he has a duty to prepare the millions of followers of the church around the world for the impact of disclosure that we're not the only sentient life in the universe. He goes on to say that I'm calling on our king to put pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to release the truth about what the UK knows about UFOs to the public. He said this to the UK Mirror. He also goes on to say they also need to put pressure on the US government and other governments worldwide. This is not just something that affects the US, but a worldwide phenomena. He continues by saying my new film, God versus Aliens, is about this impact and how people can prepare for massive changes to their place in the world. It would be the biggest paradigm shift of them all. He goes on to say religion has survived Copernicus and Galileo, Charles Darwin and evolution, but he questions whether it would survive if other sentient life brought their own beliefs or non-beliefs and imposed them upon us. So think about that for a second. Do aliens believe in God? And if they do they believe in the same God as Catholics or Christians? I think that's an important thing to note here too, because we have so many different religions. I think he's focused on like Christianity itself and not the other ones.
It's an interesting question.
Would aliens believe in God? What do you think?
Wow.
Do they know him?
Do they what?
Maybe they know him. Maybe they've met him. Maybe there's more to it than we know. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, no.
When I read that, it kind of like blew my mind. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Would aliens believe in God? Would they believe in one God? Would they believe in many gods?
Huh.
I've heard people.
I have to think there's only one.
Yeah.
And even though we have Buddhist and all, I still think there's one, and he allows himself to be called different things by different people. That's just what I've come up with. And a lot of people go, you're completely wrong. And that's just my opinion. Everybody's got one, right? But never thought about aliens worshiping anything, really.
I remember someone saying at one time, what if the aliens were the gods?
That too.
You know, wasn't that brought up at one point that was what all the Greek gods were made
That
up
might have
from?
been.
I don't remember exactly.
Huh.
So Sarah's got a couple good questions. She says, "Do you believe that UFOs attempt to contact and condition us through emotional intelligence?"
I think they're going to attempt to condition us any way they can in
Yeah.
whatever they want to do,
I agree.
which
All
is
right.
scary as hell.
And then she goes on to ask, "Do aliens have culture?" I would imagine that they do. I think
Some
it's hard to
sort-
function without some form of culture.
yeah, and it might be completely different from ours. Well, it almost
Exactly.
has to be. Almost has to be, doesn't it?
Who knows?
Oh,
Right?
yeah, who does know?
Maybe God knows.
Yeah, we know he knows, and maybe the government knows a hell of a lot more that they're telling us.
I think they do. I really do. There's so much we don't know, but I think it's coming out. It's coming out surely but slowly.
I don't know. You know, we feel like it's coming out, but again, it's all talk. Where's the
Yeah.
video? Where's the pictures? Where's the autopsy reports? Where is this stuff?
Exactly.
Come on.
Andrew's got a good question.
Yep, he does.
This is interesting.
Oh, wow.
So, Andrew, what if we die and instead of heaven or hell, we got to choose to stay and be a spirit or become an alien? That is an excellent question. Now,
Wow.
some people believe that aliens are just beings that kind of exist on a different plane, and sometimes they can like phase in and out of ours, so they can communicate through telepathy or even emotion, as Sarah was saying. Again, it's all speculation. Like, who knows? But it's fascinating, isn't it?
Gosh. But if you had to choose between a spirit or an alien, what would you choose?
I'm going with spirit.
Too.
I know spirit, so I'm not.
Based on my experience, I would be a spirit.
Yes. Yep. I don't know much about the aliens, so I'm going with spirit.
He's going to go with spirit as well.
Yep, Andrew's also going with spirit. Good choice,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the story. Nick Pope, the former head of the UK's UFO program, also proposed the idea that aliens could even have their own religious beliefs and gods they worship, which we just talked about. And he's saying, what if aliens brought their own crazy gods, something that we would regard just as weird and crazy, and would they impose them on us? So he's another person asking, would they impose their beliefs upon us? And he goes on to say, these are questions that we might have to face. Who knows? You know, are they going to be friendly? Are they going to be foes? Are we going to peacefully coexist? Are they going to try to conquer us?
Are they going to be friendly until we buck back at them and then they have to impose and then they're really, predator type? Yuck.
Sarah makes a good point, saying culturally, angels and demons exist on an interdimensional plane.
Yeah.
And it's no different what humans have been doing to each other for thousands of years. It's nothing new. Sarah, that is true, and I totally agree with that. Now, some people are hoping that if the aliens do come and they're hostile, it'll be something that'll kind of unite mankind, because we'll all realize that, people focus on petty differences, and now we have a greater threat, and it would bring all of humanity together. Will that happen? Who knows? I think some people would try to sell humanity out and make a deal with the aliens, kind of a deal with the devil.
This is something interesting, though. Sometimes I wonder, with these movies they come up with, it's almost like you know, like you got Batman, Superman, all these movies. It kind of makes you wonder. I get everybody has you know, they can fantasize different things and create a movie or something, you know, but all these scary movies and all these different shows, it kind of makes you wonder, you know, what somebody knows that we don't know.
Yeah, there almost has to be some form of truth
It's
in there somewhere that then they could take their imagination and run wild with it. But something in there had to be true. I'm with you on that.
yeah, it always makes me wonder when I see these shows, you know, and I'm like,
You know, when we watch crime dramas and things like that, my mom's always going, "Why do they keep showing this? This is just going to give people ideas." Well, yeah, it will, but somebody's already had that idea too.
Right. And if
Yeah.
you look at a lot of like the sci-fi shows and movies and stuff that they had in there, and some of it is stuff that we have now.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's
Knowing what I know about dreams, I know that we're able to tap into the future or potential futures. And I think some of that inspiration comes through to those people through dreams. Maybe the aliens beam some stuff into their minds too. Who knows?
could very well be.
Could be another way that they prepare us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or brainwash us.
well, they think
True.
Bigfoot is an. I've heard different stories. Some people say, is it paranormal with him? You know, is he an alien? Is he coming from another dimension? Is he an alien? Who knows? We don't know. To be honest, I mean, there's never been no really that solid proof, you know, of what he is.
So Sarah makes another good point. Manipulation is based off fear of loss and the unknown, fear of aliens or xenophobic. I think she alluded to Stephen Hawking earlier too.
Yeah.
And I know one of his concerns was that aliens would bring new diseases to Earth and some that our immune systems wouldn't be ready for. Kind of like,
Have they been here?
Yeah, but you know what? They're making shit up in the labs now anyway.
Maybe they've already brought it.
it's true. Who knows?
Yeah. You know, speaking of that, where the CDC, isn't the CDC one? I'm sure there's more than one place that has the huge vaults of all the viruses and illnesses and crap that have come up, and they're like very protected. You know, I just wonder how many there are. How many do they have in each locked? You know, how many lockers do they have?
I don't know that I want to think about that. Because I'm sure there's thousands.
There's
upon
gotta be.
thousands.
There's got to be.
And Sarah read my mind. She said the Europeans, going back to bringing in, diseases that we've never been exposed to, the Europeans did that to the Native American populations through smallpox. So that's what Stephen Hawking was truly afraid of, was that they would bring all these foreign diseases and kind of, wipe out a huge part of the population. Who knows?
I mean, there's people claiming to have already had encounters with them and been taken up on the ships and stuff. Maybe they're the ones that maybe some of them people brought something with them. You know?
Or maybe they're carriers.
Oh,
Maybe they're carriers.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Back to you, David.
Maybe the aliens brought them on the ships to see what would happen if we were exposed to that stuff, and then developed some kind of vaccine. So when they do come down, we'll be prepared.
Yeah.
It's another way to look at it.
Depends, are they good? Are they bad? Do they want to wipe us out? Do they want to have peaceful coexistence?
I think
it all depends on that. Really?
There's good and there's bad ones, just like us. There's good and bad.
I think you're right.
There's probably ones that are funny. You know, who knows?
I want those good sense of humor ones.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah, the ones that just want to be fun, have fun.
We have a comedy bus that drives through one of our major cities. So what if there's like an alien comedy UFO?
Oh,
They crack like human jokes.
And they're partying, they're jamming out, and they're listening to their music.
they've got
Maybe they're like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's like the movie Galaxy. It's just like that Guardian of the Galaxies. Hey,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
If Rocket Raccoon's real, I want to be there.
Hey,
Is Groot super? And you know, that's kind of like what that is. They got different colored people up there, you know, green and blue and oh, I haven't seen yellow, not that I recall, but the green people, the blue people.
We've heard of greens and we've heard of grays.
Yep.
All right, we have one more part to Alienmania.
Let's do it.
It's Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, who I believe we've discussed on past episodes. We've already talked about this a little, but he believes that the proven existence of alien life should be enough to prompt humanity into a state of global unification. The idea is aliens would force humanity to consider ourselves a united species. We're all human. Rather than a diverse species who hate each other for largely mundane reasons. And he says we've heard this all before. Talk like this goes as far back as former President Reagan. But the same idea has been around the UFO community for decades. And it's assumed that any announcement of a discovery regarding alien life is some kind of conspiracy and globalist psyop designed to destroy individual freedoms, enslave humanity, and usher in the New World Order, waiting for Scott Hall and Razor Ramon and Hollywood Hulk Hogan to come powerbomb someone through a table. And they say it sounds conspiratorial, and it absolutely is, unless it actually happens.
Yeah.
I'm just going to work in Hulk Hogan as many times as I can because I know that's Mike's least favorite wrestler.
Yeah, since he can't.
He was my grandmother's favorite. My grandma, she loved wrestling.
And again, another theme within a staged alien invasion or a true alien invasion would be the attempt to kill God in the eyes of our species. Loeb talks about this, and he has some feelings on how humanity might react to such an alien species. And he said it kind of falls oddly in line with this aspect of the conspiracy of, the New World Order and that stuff, and taking away our freedoms and locking us down. He goes on to say, a very advanced scientific civilization is a good approximation to God. And he goes on to compare, imagine a cave dweller visiting New York City and seeing all these gadgets and technologies in terms of lights and all these beeps and things like that. And all these, like the technology we have today would seem like a miracle to the cave dweller because it's far more sophisticated than anything than that he or she has seen. So he continues, and he says, you can imagine that the superhuman civilization that understands how to unify quantum mechanics and gravity might actually be able to create a baby universe in a laboratory. He's referring to aliens. And this is a quality that we assign to God in religious texts. So could it be that there is an alien that was God and that figured all this stuff out and created a big bang in a laboratory, and here we are? I just think that's an interesting philosophical point that he makes. And he also goes on to say, if aliens do invade, those of us who fear God should not be afraid we should be skeptical because there's no form of life as powerful as God anywhere in the universe. And so he kind of feels like God would lay the smackdown on the aliens and, like Hulk Hogan, do the big leg drop and take care of them. And his last point is there are plenty of life forms on Earth today who believe themselves to be gods, and those are the people that we should be worried about.
Those are the government.
You got the government, and there's some crazies out there.
There are, and in every country.
Mm-hmm. They come out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah's got more comments. Sarah, we should have you on the show sometime.
I'm telling you, she needs to be on here.
I'm telling you, we're the galactic reality show, the cosmic version of the Kardashians. I'm going to pull a mic here. I do not want to be lumped in with the Kardashians.
I don't either.
Please.
Don't either. I would rather be on
just
Ozzy's
know
show.
The Kardashians are on a planet of their own. Maybe they are aliens. I don't know, but I don't want to be lumped in with them. Please.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, Mike would have definitely ran with that one, wouldn't
Oh,
he?
definitely.
Oh.
Let's take away our psychological coping mechanisms and see what happens.
Ooh.
So do you think, obviously there are plenty of us that believe that there is extraterrestrial life out there. Do you think there would be a mass hysteria? Or do you think people would be like, you know what? It's about freaking time. We knew.
I think
people would react?
I think there's you would have some that would be so excited. Yeah, like finally. But then, depending on how these aliens actually started acting toward us, it could turn into terror immediately.
Yeah, because the movies. Look at some of the movies. Independence Day. Look at that one. The people are going to be freaking out. They're going to be like, it's going to be a rampage. Everybody's going to be packing up their stuff. Everybody's going to be trying to get away. If we see all these spaceships in the sky hovering around, I mean, it's going to be complete chaos, panic. I think because that's just what, the shows had portrayed some of them, There's only been one show that I can recall, maybe two, where they actually didn't make them out to be so mean. E.T. was one of them.
Yeah.
E.T. he came out friendly.
Right. Another one. Was
what
there
about
another?
Alf?
Yeah.
Okay.
All you want to do is eat cats.
Oh, yeah. And that's the only thing. That's why I couldn't watch Alf. I can't. No, you can't eat my cats.
Oh,
Sarah says E.T. was a scout for the invasion. Do you remember there was a show called Alien Nation?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had the spots on their heads and stuff, and they got drunk off of sourdough.
Yeah.
But that was a show where they coexisted.
With the people.
Oh,
yeah.
And Mork from Ork?
Yes. Mort calling Orson. Mort calling Orson.
They're coming up with these shows. It makes me wonder if they've already been doing this with some of these.
When I was a kid, I loved the TV show V. And then rebooted it. And I got was it V? I think that was the name of the show.
I don't know.
I'm going to have to Google it while one of you does your stories. But yeah, it was about aliens coming to Earth, and they pretended to be friendly, and they gave us all these medical advancements, like how to detect and cure cancer and things like that. But they were really preparing us for their invasion. And then they rebooted the show, and it was awesome too. And it got canceled, and they gave it such a crappy ending. I was so mad.
Oh,
I think it was NBC. Thanks a lot, NBC.
I love
Ryan Reynolds is trying to bring Alf back. That would be pretty cool. They should bring him back old though.
I know.
Alf with children. like a hybrid of Alf and Married with Children. That would be
If
awesome.
Ryan Reynolds is on it, I'm watching it.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious.
I love him.
All right,
I
so
do too. He's hilarious.
Yes.
that's this week's edition of Alienamania Running Wild. Cyn, what do you got for us?
I have got, let's talk about grave robbing, shall we?
All right.
All right. So it's been happening as far back as people can document. Oh, what's
He said,
I got a little click happy there.
he did, didn't he?
Were we being invaded by
It's like,
this
ooh, let's see
alien?
what this one does. Ooh, I was like Homer Simpson.
Okay. All right. Grave robbing. So it started way back, but Europe started suffering the problem at least from the 1500s. United States, of course, when the colonies were here, mostly it was because people would steal anything of value, whatever was valuable to them. And that could be anything from jewelry, clothing, gold teeth, things like that. Now, fast forward a little bit later, and colleges are using bodies to do autopsies and learn about how the body works, right? They need to know how to work with the body to make it better, or they need to know how to do surgical procedures. So what they used normally was occasionally the remains of prisoners executed would be brought in. Unclaimed bodies, this is sad, from orphanages, insane asylums, or prisons that were people just, they didn't go back for them. So they would be used as practice pieces. For the up and coming doctors, however, that still didn't give them enough bodies. So there became this group of people, graveyard robbers, that the medical schools would pay to dig up fresh bodies. They were known as the resurrectionists. And they would supply the laboratory classes with these bodies. It became an epidemic. And it was such a severe situation that special coffins started being built. Iron cages were made to go over the graves for protection. Some bodies had collars on them that were attached to the back, the floor of the coffin. There were concrete vaults, put over. Large stones were placed over the grave. But these precautions were still ineffective to thieves that were persistent. The body itself is what became the value that they were looking for, instead of how it all started, just to get the riches from the people that died. So special houses were built to create storage. And there, cadavers were allowed to rot for 30 days and make them too unappealing to be stolen once they were buried. So that went that far. Some stories of modern grave robbing involves Charlie Chaplin and Abraham Lincoln. Now, the Abraham Lincoln one you might have heard of. It was his grave. There was a failed attempt to steal his body from his grave. So it resulted in 20 years of complicated moving and hiding his body so people could not desecrate the grave. In 2015, this is something out of Ohio, Mandy.
Hey now.
And you might know this story. I don't know. In 2015, Livius Drusus wrote about a particularly horrifying story of John Scott Harrison, the representative, who died May 25th, 1878. Now, he was buried 4 days later. And during his funeral, someone noticed that a nearby grave, that of Augustus Devon, who died of tuberculosis, was buried the previous week, and it had been robbed. So Harrison's family, his 3 sons, Benjamin, John, and Carter, saw to it that their father had a bricked vault reinforced with 3 large slab stones, concrete poured on top to deter grave robbers, excuse me. And they even paid a watchman $30 to guard their father's grave for 30 days to make sure that the body was beyond usability, right?
Oh, wow.
The next day, John and his cousin George Eaton obtained a search warrant with 3 Cincinnati policemen and went to look for the body of Devin, the one that they had seen had been desecrated. So they go, they look for the body of Devin at the Medical College of Ohio. Unfortunately, what they found first was Representative Harrison's nude body hanging from a noose awaiting its time on the dissection table.
God.
Devin's body was found in a vat. It was filled with brine to preserve the body until it was needed. So both bodies were stolen right under these people's noses.
Mm-mm-mm.
And the janitor is who was arrested for doing that. Janitor was arrested for body snatching. The college posted his $5,000 bail and stood behind his decision to buy bodies and get them. And Harrison's sons sued the college, but unfortunately, no records exist now because all of that was destroyed in a fire that burned at the courthouse.
I don't think I heard of that.
Holy cow, can you imagine?
I feel like it was like a Scooby-Doo episode when they caught the janitor, and he was like, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for your darn kids.
Those darn kids.
I mean, if they paid someone to watch the gravesite, it kind of makes me wonder if someone didn't pay him.
Almost has to be, right?
You know what I mean? Because if someone's standing guard, I mean, it sounds like they had someone guard for, I don't know if it was, 24/7, taking turns with people or whatever, but somebody got paid off. They had to have.
They had to have. Well, there was this woman in Paris in 1719. She was born in 1719, daughter of an apothecary. Her name, Mademoiselle Biheron, and she started helping with a practical solution to the body shortage problem. She worked with wax, and she had a secret ingredients that she mixed in with this beeswax. She wouldn't tell anybody, but the bodies that she made of these corpses look so lifelike. She took needle and thread and actually made details on the removable parts, and everything was so unbelievable that all these physicians, the academia, everybody came to her home because she had this huge chest as a display in her home of these bodies that she had done. So it took her several months to do one, and they were very, very, very expensive. But they would buy her bodies for use in the lab. That story comes out of Mark Elliott Fultz's book, Darkest Corners, The Dolls, that I was telling you about.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the time that someone carved a replica WWF championship belt, like Hulk Hogan's championship belt. And it looks so real that security confiscated it because they thought somehow this guy had stolen it and was wearing it, over his shoulder like a true champion.
Wow.
Representing Hulkamania.
And it kind of reminds me of the scary movies. I'm sorry, the Chainsaw Massacre, Ed Gein, them.
Hostel. That movie freaked me out. Like the first part of the movie was fine, but when they got to the part where they were kidnapping the students who were traveling and staying in the hostels, and they were like pulling their eyeballs out and stuff, that grossed me out. Sarah's saying now people can do virtual autopsies.
Yeah, just think how far everything's come.
That technology is actually getting even better because they have like augmented reality. And they have machines that can project things in front of you, and you can kind of interact with it, kind of like Star Wars and Star Trek kind of stuff.
And the CSIs would show that once in a while. You know, the CSI shows, they would bring stuff in and they'd work on it right there. And if they would go to the medical examiner, the autopsy, they could pull in and show a virtual one.
Doctor's going to be working from his home doing this for too long.
Right. Yeah.
And just like Mike makes everybody drink when he says Italian, Sarah's saying, I'm trying to turn Hulkamania into a drinking game. So people would have to.
Every time you mention the whole,
I'll have my seltzer.
What you got there? Dreamy Dave, what you drinking?
I have watermelon lemonade seltzer. I'm going hard tonight.
I just got ginger ale tonight. That's all I've got.
All right. Back to the TV show. It was called V. It was a mini series. It was first shown in 1983. I think it lasted till, well, depending on who you follow, 1984 or 1985. That one actually got an ending. The reboot, which was, I think, 2009, did not get a proper ending. Fascinating enough, as I was flipping through, it reminded me that these were reptilian aliens and they wore like human skin-like costumes so that the humans wouldn't realize that they were dealing with reptilian aliens.
I don't remember that show, but that was probably before my time, maybe. I don't remember it. When did it come out again?
In the early 80s. It's like 1983, 84.
Oh, I was just like 5 years old, maybe 4. Yeah.
You young chick. I'm going to have to go back and look at it, David. That was what I did.
Why in my day, we had TV shows about reptilian aliens, and we liked it. We loved it. We watched it every week.
Hulk Hogan, maybe?
I need moisturizer.
All right, Mandy, what do you got for us this week? Cyn, thank you for your stories.
Leading right into after the grave robbers. So let me put my glasses on here so I can see. So I'm just going to name off some of the top 10 most haunted locations in Ohio. Okay, number 1 is the Mansfield Reformatory. Now, this is a well-known place, and it is known for its the way it was built. Okay, it looks like a castle. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or been there. The place is beautiful. It really looks like a castle. And I've actually investigated this location quite a few times, and I actually have captured some really cool stuff there. And the next one you have, I wanted to say there's been lots of reports of shadow people and unexplained voices caught on tape, unusual anomalies, things like that. The guard, Frank, has been seen there at this location at the reformatory. Inmates that have passed on have been seen here. Numerous reports on these spirits.
Mandy, when you say shadow people, do you mean just like shadows or like the shadow people that are in like the trench coat and the fedora?
Well, what it's saying here, I think what they're seeing is they're seeing the inmates that have passed on, and they're seeing the shadow of them. And to me, when the shadow people, this is just my opinion, a shadow person is someone that doesn't have enough energy to manifest his true form. But something that is like dark as dark, that to me is something non-human, which I have seen those things out there in the field. Those look like blobs, like just one big blob. So yes, I believe that is what it is. It's a spirit that doesn't have enough energy to manifest its true form. Shadow person. Number 2 is Franklin Castle. It has a dark history. This castle is very old. It's a private place viewed safely from the street. Unfortunately, the tragedy, there was skeletal remains, and there was a fire, a mysterious deaths that had taken place here, plagues this building in the early mid 1800s. It is a true piece of work located in Cleveland, Ohio. And there's been a lot of people reported to see there's something about a hidden passage in a ballroom, and a woman in black and a little girl dressed in white has been reported here. Moving on to number 3, the Bisman building located in Mansfield. I have actually been here too. I've investigated this location. This building is more than 130 years old, and it is still full of life and has lots of spirits. But it is also very well known. It is in downtown Mansfield. It does, they used to offer public and private investigations, but the owner sold the place. So I don't know who took it over now, but there is a story of a child. I want to say maybe the child's name was Sarah or something like that. But there was reports of a child that was murdered at this location and was buried at this location. And she has been seen and heard at the location too. There's also been reports, workers who had passed away. A man went to get on an elevator, and unfortunately, he did not make it off the elevator. He was decapitated.
What?
Yes. And it's a creepy story. Yeah, I can't remember. Actually, I just know that he went to get on this elevator, and he didn't make it off. He was completely decapitated. So, and he still haunts this location. Yeah, this was I can't remember what they ran from it, but it was it might have been like an old mill or something, but it was a running store. I mean, it ran for years, this location. So it's got a lot of history, and it's old. I've actually investigated this location a couple times. But the next place is Lock 4 Park, which I've not heard of this one in Ohio, but it is just, it's along the Ohio and Erie Canal. It has a place, there's a dark history to this place. The legend says that a horrific incident occurred here in the 1880s with a container of acid. A man gone wild and a crew of men on a canal boat. It said that the ghosts of the deceased still roam the area by the Lock Tenders building. I've never heard of that location. So, next location is the Malabar Farm, located in a beautiful rolling hills of the Richland County. It is it's a beautiful place that is has the Hollywood history here. There's murders, there's ghosts. There's a story of a ghost teenager, Celie Rose. She was found guilty of killing her family by poisoning their breakfast food in 1896. She was committed to an asylum and died in Lima, Ohio. But many say that she still haunts the area where the family's house still stands. Lots of, I live in Ohio. There's so many haunted locations here. It's crazy. I still have yet to investigate a lot of these places. But I'll say one more because there's so many to go through. But Beaver Creek State Park. This is one of Ohio's most scenic park harbors, legends and ghostly sightings in Columbia County. Aside from its natural beauty, the park is special for its history. A portion of the park was once part of a canal system from the early 1800s. Ghostly sightings were here. The wandering Quaker preacher, the ghostly girl of Gretchen's Lock, and the haunted Hambleton Mill are just a few of the legends entwined with the historical fact of this location. I mean, it just goes on and on with these haunted places here.
Mandy, Sarah's got a question.
Oh.
She's asking, aside from trauma, what else can fuel a haunting?
Ooh, there's attachments. You could be attached to a location. Say you built a location and you poured your heart and soul into it, and your family and you know your family lived there. That could also be another reason why someone stays and haunts a location, because you know all that energy that they put into making it their home. That can be not knowing that they have something fast. It doesn't have to just be like a murder or a suicide. It could be something tragic, like an accident, a car accident. Someone doesn't know that they that they are already gone, or they don't understand what's going on yet. That could also cause a haunting. There's just different things.
Yeah, and as far as attachments, doesn't it actually have to be the property they're attached to? They can actually be
Mhm.
attached to one item in the
Yes.
house.
Yes.
If you get rid of, say, a hairbrush that mom used, that
Mhm. A
and
mirror, dressers,
yeah,
animals. I mean, dolls. I've got a bunch of
right.
dolls over. So
Well,
there's
and
different things.
that's what dolls were created for in the beginning anyway, to house souls. So,
Mm.
anybody that collects dolls, you might have something extra
Mm.
with that.
You know, they can be attached to vehicles too.
Yeah, they can be attached to anything. Anything.
I've heard stories of spirits attaching themselves to vehicles, and that would freak me out. You wouldn't want to be driving around a vehicle that's haunted. It would
No.
be like the movie Christine, you know?
Yeah.
Well, not to that extent, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. It can also be unfinished business. Maybe they didn't get to say something that they wanted to one of their loved ones, or to somebody that they despised.
Or
You know,
feeling like their time was up too soon. That could do it too.
yeah, yeah. There's just tons of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Generational curses, tulpas. It's a mad, mad world out there. You can put a pin on a map and find something paranormal there.
It's true. They're coming out of the woodwork now. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Do you think there's like a surge of energy? Do you think there's a
There's
shift in the world?
Energy doesn't, you never lose energy. Energy is
Right.
always
It
here.
can neither be created nor destroyed.
Yep.
plus you've got, so everybody is so interested in the paranormal now. So many shows are on, so many podcasts, so many, books, whatever is out there people can get a hold of. And if they don't know how to do something safely, they can open doorways. And if they leave them open, basically, if they don't know what they're doing and they leave that door open, things can still pop through.
Mm-hmm.
That has created a lot of extra chaos, I think,
Well, the
everywhere.
Ouija boards, a lot of people messing with them Ouija boards, and
Yeah.
not trying to put a bad name on Ouija boards, because
No,
I've messed with Ouija boards, and when I'm
I
out there investigating, and I've never had nothing bad happen. But those who might be trying to conjure up something bad too, I just
exactly.
think they get curious and they want to know. But then when they do find out, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now?
Hey, Pam,
Oh,
how are you? Mike will be
Hey.
happy because you said hello to me this week.
Yes, and he put your name first. If she put
Are we going to Ocean State Paracon?
I wish.
that would be interesting.
I wish I could. I'm too far down here.
Thank you, Pam.
I am not, but I think I will be at the next Block Island event,
I am so jealous.
which is coming up on August 25th, 26th, and 27th. Legit Paranormal and Block Island Ghost Tours are teaming up. Our guest speaker is the Ghost Boy of Geneseo. Is it Chris DeCesare?
That's not quite right.
All right.
Cesare.
I apologize, Chris.
Did Cesare or something like that?
Okay. He will be
Not
our
so
guest
soon.
speaker. So here's the schedule for that weekend, and the team has been working so hard to put these together. This is the third one, and they just get better and better every time. So Friday, August 25th at 7 p.m., there's a VIP meet and greet. The Saturday events will be hosted by our own King Michael. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., there's beach time and free time, so you get to just hang out and enjoy the island. At 2:30, there's an introduction to legit podcasts and BIGT. I don't know what that is. I'll have to ask Mike. At 2:45, we have tarot readings and an escape room. At 3:50, you will not want to miss this. It is jokes with our own King Markel. He'll be doing that for about 10 minutes. At 4 o'clock, we have Rob Martin's magic show. I have heard nothing but good things about this magic show, and I can't wait to see it myself. At 5 o'clock, we get to go on a ghost tour with Rick Lysick from Block Island Ghost Tours. At 6:15 will be Chris, our guest speaker. At 6:45, we'll be sharing paranormal experiences. From 7:30 to 9 o'clock is free time for dinner and hanging out. At 9 o'clock, there's an after party. And then Sunday morning, there's at 10 a.m., there's a VIP farewell brunch. So it'll be a lot of fun. And like I said, the legit team has put a lot of work into this. And they just want it to be a good time for everybody. And the cool thing about this is, and I know Mike always makes this point, but you go to these conventions, you sit there, you listen to a speaker, and then if you're lucky, you get to pay to take a picture and get an autograph. But here you actually get to hang out and interact with the speakers and the legit crew. You know, Rick takes you on the ghost tour himself. So it's just an awesome time. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can go to blockislandghosttours.com for ticketing information and all that other stuff.
And I think too, probably people should check out the ferry.
Yes.
To make sure they don't get stuck on the island on Saturday evening.
I don't know if there'll be any reservations left on the island to stay overnight because those do book up quickly. You can stay in the area though, but like Cyn said, you want to check the ferry schedule. There are two types of ferries. There's the normal one. It takes about an hour from Point Judith to get to the island, and then they have the high-speed one, which is a little more money, but it gets you there in half an hour.
I have never been there.
We should go, Mandy.
We need to go, Cyn.
I can't go to this one.
I can't either. I'll be investigating in Tennessee. Yeah, I'll be in Tennessee over by Gatlinburg on the 26th.
You're going to be close to me.
Oh, girl.
So next fall, I think we're going to do these again next fall.
Join me, Cyn.
We'll have to plan ahead of time and get everybody there on the island. It's just going to get bigger and better. We, the team has learned from each one of these, and it just, like I said, it gets better. The goal is to make it the premier. It's not even a convention, the premier paranormal event to come hang out on, listen to speakers, meet people with similar interests, hear fascinating stories. People have experienced things just like you. You know, it's a place to come together where you don't feel like a freak and you don't feel like you're crazy. You can talk about these experiences openly. It's just a lot of fun. There's some good bars and restaurants. Beaches are awesome. So yeah.
And the escape room. I want to
try
escape room,
magic show, ghost tour. I watched Mike go on one of the ghost tours with Rick, and they did a live EVP session like right then and there. Or they had like it's like one of those radios, a scanner.
Oh, they had spirit box.
And they were asking questions and seeing what was coming through on the scanner. It was pretty cool to watch, and I can't wait to experience something like that myself.
That'd be awesome. Awesome.
Sarah is saying it's my first Paracon. Any tips for a newbie?
It's the first Paracon you're going to, Sarah. So I think she's in Tennessee, from what I understand. I'm not positive, but
she's going to this to the island one.
So I guess she's going to. No, I think she said she's going to the Paracon, the Ocean State Paracon.
I've not heard of that one.
I remember a couple of guests talking about it, and Buddy knows about it. So I wish we could ask Buddy real quick, but he could talk about it and
maybe come back tomorrow night for legit paranormal clips. Buddy should be on there. He's the man to ask.
Ask Buddy Sarah tomorrow night. So what time is that show? That show is 7 Central Time.
Yeah, I think it's 8:05
Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Buddy.
then,
Yeah. So ask Buddy tomorrow, Sarah.
or shoot him a message. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer your questions. Buddy's awesome like that.
Yeah, he's a super guy.
For next year's events on Block Island, I want to get a T-shirt made that says "I want to drink beers with Buddy."
Yeah, because
he's just one of those guys you just want to have a beer with.
Yeah,
Buddy's
and Mike
awesome.
says he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Man,
I mean,
he's
I
tall.
would be like that to him.
I'm 5'5".
I'm 5'1".
Buddy?
I'm 5'5".
Are you?
I mean, we would all be looking up at him. I'll be looking up at Mike too. He's 6 foot, but the three of us can hang around. Oh yeah, Buddy is a teddy bear. So is Dreamy David, don't you think, Sarah? Dreamy David Barr is a teddy bear as well.
He's a teddy bear.
I don't know about that.
I think
so. No. A dreamy teddy bear.
Dreamy teddy bear. Yeah, I'm one of those teddy bears that
it's gonna be a new Care Bear.
Yes, that's what I pictured. But
it's gonna have a little dream catcher on its stomach.
Yes. My bear would be one of the ones that you stick something close to her and she goes, ah.
I've seen those. Oh, Sarah's taller than me. Most people are taller than me, Sarah. All right, we should probably finish wrapping up. Again, we have the Block Island event, August 25th through the 27th. If you're into the paranormal, come on down. It's awesome. It's a good time. Like I said, everybody's put so much work into this. And I know they truly care about this event. And I'll be there Saturday. Cyn, you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, if you've got any stories, creepy ones are the ones I'm looking for right now. I'm bringing a book out this fall. It's called Realm of Shadows. So it's going to be the darker investigations I've gone on and some of the darker things that have happened to some of my friends. So you can send me stories, Cyn Shrader Hill Author @gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, Cyn Shrader Hill Author, and ElkValleyParanormal.com.
Awesome. Mandy, what do you got?
All right, guys, you can go over and follow me if you're looking to if you want a mediumship reading, you can go follow me on Intuitive Medium Mandy on Facebook and TikTok. Also, if you're into the paranormal, you can go follow me on Ghost Sisters on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate everything. Lots of comments. Thank you, Sarah, everybody else. Definitely made the show interesting tonight. It's nice to have the interactions. If there are stories you want to hear about that we don't talk about, why don't you just drop us a comment? Tell us what you want to hear. We'll work on those stories. We're here for, everybody. It's all about sharing and learning and having fun in the process. And that being said, for Cyn Shrader Hill Author, for the Machine Mandy, for King Mike L, who's on assignment, but he should be on Paranormal Clips tomorrow night. Legit Paranormal Clips. I am Dreamy David Barr. This is Legit Paranormal News. Until next time, dream well, everybody.